You know, AI is absolutely flooding into our schools, and the pressure is on, right? We have to prepare students for a future that feels like it's arriving faster and faster every single day. But as everyone rushes to adapt, a really critical question is starting to pop up. Are we actually setting our kids up for success, or are we just teaching them how to react? Let's get into it.
So everything we're about to talk about is based on some really fascinating commentary from Professor Rebecca Eynon over at the University of Oxford. She argues that we need to be thinking way more deeply about what AI's role in education should actually be.
And that brings us to the big question, the one at the heart of this whole thing. Are our schools just reacting to this tidal wave of AI, or are they proactively preparing students to shape the world it creates? Trust me, that distinction is everything. Okay. So let's start with what's happening on the ground right now. AI has officially landed in the classroom, and you can see institutions scrambling to figure out what to do. A perfect example is what's happening in the UK. They're doing a huge national review of the curriculum, and the whole goal is to equip students for this new era. I mean, on the surface, that sounds exactly right, doesn't it?
Well, here's the twist. Research from some of Oxford's own projects found something that kind of shatters that whole idea of the digitally savvy kid. It turns out a lot of students are actually struggling with the fundamentals, things we take for granted, like word processing or just managing their files. It suggests the foundation we're trying to build on is maybe a little bit shakier than we think.
And this leads us to what Professor Eynon calls the reactive trap. It's this mindset that so many schools and even policymakers are falling into, probably without even realizing it.
So what do we mean by a reactive approach? Well, it's this belief that AI is inevitable, that it's this unstoppable force coming at us, and our only job is to prepare our kids to adapt and live in that future. It basically positions all of us, especially our students, as just passive recipients of whatever technology comes our way.
This slide just lays it out so perfectly. Look at the left. That's the reactive view. AI is inevitable, students are just users, and the goal is simply to adapt. But now look at the right. The proactive approach completely flips the script. It says, no, AI is shapeable. Students aren't just users, they're citizens. And the goal isn't just to adapt to the future, it's to actually change it.
So let's really dive into this proactive idea, because it's not just a small adjustment. It's a huge, fundamental shift in how we think about tech and education.
Here's the most important part. AI isn't like the weather. It didn't just appear. It's built by people. That means it reflects our choices, our economies, and our values, biases, and all. And the most empowering part of that, because people made it, people can change it.
And this quote from Professor Eynon just captures it perfectly. AI is not just something to react to, but something that people should actively shape. See? It's about having agency, not just accepting inevitability.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but what does a proactive approach actually look like in a school? Well, the research suggests it can be built on 3 core pillars.
And those 3 pillars are right here: criticality, inclusion, and responsibility. This is basically the blueprint for a proactive classroom. So let's break down what each one really means, because this is how we empower students, not just train them.
First up, criticality. This means we have to get students beyond just being end users. We need to turn them into critical citizens who are always asking why. So a history class isn't just about using AI to summarize a battle. It's about asking, hey, why did the AI choose these details and leave those other ones out? It's about looking under the hood.
Second, we've got inclusion. And this is where students can really get their hands dirty. A coding class isn't just about building some random app. Maybe it's a project to figure out how bias gets baked into an algorithm. Or maybe they create a tool to solve a real problem in their own community. It turns technology into a tool for change.
And the third pillar, responsibility. Wow, this is a big one. Right now, so much of the talk is about teaching kids to be better at spotting deepfakes or AI mistakes. But think about it, that approach puts a ton of responsibility on the shoulders of the individual student.
And this quote just nails it. Teaching kids to critique a broken system can't be the cure-all for its flaws. I mean, this is a societal problem. It needs better rules and regulations. It's not something we can solve by just making our kids better detectives.
And that brings us to the final, really key point here. This proactive vision for AI in our schools, well, it's not something schools can do by themselves. It's going to take a much broader effort. If we want to build a curriculum that's truly meaningful, we need a whole bunch of different voices at the table: academic experts, nonprofits, and maybe most importantly, the teachers who are on the front lines every day.
The source warns that, in the past, big commercial interests have had way too much say in setting the agenda.
So as we wrap this up, this is the thought I really want to leave you with. Maybe the most important shift we can make is in the questions we're asking. Instead of asking, how can our kids use the AI that already exists, maybe the much, much better question is, what kind of AI should our kids be empowered to build for the future? The difference between those two questions, well, that's everything.